Are you functioning like a program manager but still carrying the title of program coordinator? In graduate medical education, so many professionals are leading initiatives, they're preventing accreditation issues, analyzing data, managing crises, and they're influencing strategy without even realizing that they've already evolved well beyond task execution. Today, we're breaking down the real differences between program coordinator and program manager, why this distinction matters, and how understanding it can completely transform your career trajectory, leadership impact, and your professional and personal fulfillment. So let's dive in. Welcome back to GME Compass. My name is Julie Gualano, and I am one of the co founders of GME Compass, which is where we guide GME professionals with real insight and experience while turning GME complexity into clarity and control. This conversation comes from years of experience across residency and fellowship administration, leadership, accreditation, operations, as well as national collaboration. Honestly, one of the biggest issues that we continue to see across graduate medical education is role confusion and the institutional roadblocks that cause a lot of that confusion. Many professionals are performing manager level work while still being viewed or compensated and titled as program coordinators. So, today we want to help you to identify where you currently function, what differentiates these roles, and how to strategically grow into leadership roles. Our disclosures, we have no financial disclosures, but it is important to mention that all content and information is drawn from the broad continuum of our personal and professional experiences, and we are not speaking on behalf of any of the institutions that we have or are currently affiliated with. Our objectives by the end of this session, we want you to clearly understand the differences between program coordinator and manager roles, how you assess your own position, the competencies associated with leadership growth, and the actionable steps that you can take if career advancement is your goal. So, are you functioning as a program manager without the title? This is probably the slide that resonates the most with people. We hear from GME professionals all the time who are leading initiatives, they're solving systemic problems, they're onboarding their faculty, they're interpreting accreditation requirements, they're preventing accreditation risks, they're running committees, they're analyzing data, they're analyzing tools and trends, but they're still viewed primarily as administrative support. The reality of this is many people evolve into leadership responsibilities before their title evolves. And if institutions don't intentionally define these distinctions, people often end up carrying higher level accountability without the recognition, the authority, or the compensation that are aligned with that. This conversation of why this matters isn't about ego, it's not about titles, and honestly, it's not about compensation. It's about sustainability. When roles are unclear, burnout increases, there's a significant higher level of turnover due to burnout. Expectations become extremely unrealistic and difficult to manage and prioritize. Accountability gets blurred, and programs suffer operationally. So that means it ultimately affects your training programs. But when leadership pathways are clearly defined, programs become stronger and professionals become more fulfilled. The key takeaway here is this is about long term program success and the people that are running and operating those programs. This matters because understanding the impact of role evolution on your career path and your program will drive professional development. It creates a clear pathway for professional evolution and progression and increases personal professional satisfaction and overall job fulfillment. This is also really important for organizational performance. Role clarity ensures that everyone understands the specific expectations and boundaries of their position. And higher level management directly improves the overall performance and the quality of their training program. So, what is the key takeaway specifically on this slide? Defining these roles is not just about titles, just like I said in the beginning of the slide, where it's not about ego, titles, compensation. It's more than that. It's about ensuring the long-term success of the program and the people running it and the training that happens within it. The program coordinator is truly, genuinely, sincerely the operational engine of the program. Their work keeps residency and fellowship programs functioning each and every single day. Their focus is execution, scheduling, documentation, logistics, compliance tracking and monitoring, communication workflows. And this role is absolutely and completely essential to the success of the programs. The key mindset in this role is, how do I complete this accurately according to the requirements? The impact of the program coordinator is often measured through operational consistency, accuracy, responsiveness, and execution. The definition of the program manager. The program manager role shifts from execution into strategy and leadership. Managers are not only asking what needs to get done today, they're asking, what does the program need to be 6 months or 3 years or 5 years from now? So managers are anticipating risks, they're improving systems, they're leading teams, influencing decisions, they're analyzing data, they're analyzing trends from that data, they're guiding change management and aligning operations with long-term program goals. This role moves from the task completion into organizational influence. Program managers provide the leadership necessary to perform program complexity into clarity and control, with a focus on strategic direction, and provide leadership and clear insight, with a key mindset being, how do I steer this program toward long-term success and improved outcomes? They move from what's due today to a long-term vision through transitions in leadership, program standards, or software and operational norms. So the case for evolution: GME today is dramatically more complex than it was 2, 5, or even 10 years ago. Programs now require professionals who understand accreditation strategy, operational analytics, recruitment systems and platforms, educational outcomes, financial stewardship, and institutional collaboration, and even sometimes beyond institutional. You're often going to hear me speak to the fact that it was not very long ago that things such as clinical competency committee, program evaluation committee, milestones, even though it's sunsetting, Claire, didn't exist. So what that means is that in our roles as program coordinators, program managers, and even program directors, really education leaders as a whole, we didn't have to keep up with these types of accreditation updates and changes. And because we now do, and because all of these requirements have evolved, we and the role of the program coordinator or program manager had to evolve with that as well. So, what is the unfortunate reality of that? It's that many of those process changes that are increasing the administrative burden, the demand, and the growth in our roles, which many of us want and we thrive in, and we actually get a significant amount of personal and professional satisfaction from. However, the business of medicine is continuing to put pressure on the higher quality of output with less resources. This means that many times the people that are making the decisions and the approvals around staffing, program director and faculty administrative time, program efficiency models, and tools often don't understand anything about the complexities of graduate medical education and how it runs extremely differently than a standard clinical practice or an office setting, creating a massive systemic and operational roadblock. This means that the field increasingly requires operational leaders, not only task managers. So one of the clearest distinctions is proactive versus reactive functioning. A coordinator may track accreditation requirements. A manager strategically prepares the program to succeed during the accreditation reviews. A coordinator inputs the data. A manager analyzes that data, trends, and identifies operational risks prior to the problems occurring. Another example: a coordinator executes decisions, a manager influences and helps to shape the trajectory of those decisions. Neither role is better, but the scope, the authority, and the strategic responsibility between the two are actually very, very different. If you're wondering whether you're already functioning at a manager level, take a moment and think to yourself and ask yourself these questions. Are you identifying operational gaps? Are you proposing potential solutions? Are you leading different initiatives, different program improvement processes? Are you influencing the workflows and how you address those different program improvement processes? Are you improving outcomes? Are you making decisions that have long-term impact on your program? That shift from task completion into organizational influence is often where management level function begins. Our roles have historically been associated with administrative support positions, particularly with the universal term being that of the program coordinator. When approaching institutional administration to be retitled to program manager, pushback often comes around direct reports. How many people actually directly report to you? However, it's much, much more than that. Program managers not only often have management responsibilities in the traditional sense, they also function a lot as that of a project manager. So we've already spoken about some of these things, but some of the biggest barriers that we see in our role are burnout, unclear expectations, lack of institutional role clarity, and learning the business side of medicine. Many professionals are exceptional operationally, but were never taught strategic leadership, negotiation, finance and budgeting, visibility, or executive communication skills. Those skills become increasingly important as the responsibilities continue to grow and evolve more and more. If your goal is to evolve into a program manager role, growth has got to become intentional. So this might be including something along the lines of learning data, presenting data, learning analytics, leading projects, serving on committees. Serving on a national committee might feel very big to you. It might feel intimidating. Start within your program. Start with different opportunities and small leadership and committees within your program. Expand to your network or your institution, or just cross programs, maybe just a few programs together. And then you can start to go from there as your skills start to develop and you start to evolve and you start to feel more comfortable. It really is a muscle that you're building. And as you continue to work those muscles, you'll become more and more comfortable and you'll become more proficient at it. Obtaining certifications. Have you thought about your TAGME certification? Have you thought about going to school, whether it's a bachelor's degree, whether it's a master's degree, or something along those lines? Improving executive communication, building visibility beyond just the daily operations of what you're doing. So, one of the biggest career growth accelerators is volunteering for projects that improve systems across departments, not just within your own workflow. So, think about ways that you can get involved beyond your desk or just the team that's right in front of you. Leadership skills. The strongest GME program managers consistently demonstrate three core pillars of leadership: strategic thinking, high level communication, and change management. Because GME is constantly evolving, software is always changing. I was a part of OBGYN when we transitioned away from Eris. That was probably one of the biggest software changes that I couldn't have even wrapped my head around or anticipated. It was something that literally every step along the recruitment and interview process was affected. I had to rethink everything that I did and we as a community had done, and how we did those things, how we assessed it, how we pivoted for things that were different. But GME is a constant evolution, and software specifically is always changing, it's always updating. It's also evolving all the time. I mentioned about how Claire is starting to sunset. Accreditation changes are always going to happen. We are part of a fluid industry because it's always growing, it's always improving, it's always working to get better and create a better training environment for our residents and our fellows. Leadership is constantly transitioning in some way, shape, or form. Curriculum, similar to accreditation, is getting redesigned. And I had spoke to recruitment changes earlier as well, very similarly, not only in terms of software, but even how we interview. I think back to pre-COVID, before when we didn't do virtual interviews, how different that was. I think back to when in training exam before it was virtual, when we used to take them in books. And even when it became virtual, it was how many different processes and how we changed the environment before we got it right. And even then, we're always reevaluating and changing as we go. I've often also said, to speak specifically to the leadership transitions, that program directors are clinical leaders of the accredited program. They are ultimately the decision makers in a residency and a fellowship program. However, at the end of the day, in their role as program directors, they're assuming an education leadership role within their institution. But their career, first and foremost, is they are physicians and they're taking care of patients. In our role as program coordinators and program managers, this is our career. Program directors grow and they change administrative roles, where the program coordinators and the program managers are the long-term constant in the accredited program infrastructure. Because of that, programs need leaders who can stabilize complexity while guiding teams through the change and the evolution. So this readiness framework is really designed to be used as a self-reflection tool. Think about it. Ask yourself things like, do I understand the why behind the requirements? I know what the requirement is, but do I understand why it's there? What are they really trying to get at when they're speaking to work hours? A big one that I often would speak to is service over education, education versus service. What are they getting at when there's a need for program expansion? Or if there's a need to start up a new program like a fellowship or a residency or something, is the why a service need, or is it because there's an educational opportunity that can be provided? Have I improved the workflows that are surrounded around the program and what we're trying to get accomplished? And am I contributing to educational quality and resident experience? Growth into leadership is not about perfection. There's nothing perfect about this presentation. I could probably do this 7 more times and still think of something that I could say better, that I could do better. I should have done this. I should have said this. This was wonky. I made a weird face. I stuttered here. But it's not about perfection. At the end of the day, it's about progression. It's about awareness. It's about intentional development. So for me, this is a skill that I am trying to grow and develop and get better at and get more natural at. So for me, I want to see myself get more seamless, get more clean, and more proficient at my presentation skills as I go on. So we hope at the end of the day that this conversation has helped to clarify the evolving landscape of graduate medical education leadership and administration. First and foremost, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. If this topic resonated with you in any way, please comment below. What do you think is the biggest challenge that you're facing as a GME professional right now? And if you found any value in any of our presentations, particularly this one, please like our video. Please, please, please subscribe to GME Compass. You can follow us on LinkedIn. You can follow us on Instagram. Send us a message at any time or an email. And you can also check out our digital download tools and resources that are designed specifically for GME professionals. So thank you so much for being here, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you all.